The first step to entering a requisition is to go to the ZOP portal. Make sure you're logged in if not already. Select the Finances KFS tab. Go down to the KFS Purchasing Portlet and select Requisition to open your new document. At the top, your document header will give you everything you'll need to help retrieve and track your requisition in the future. Please make a note of your document number for future reference, and your requisition number will populate upon your first save. For today's example, we're going to be ordering pipettes. Our first tab we're going to look at is the Document Overview tab. An asterisk on the document fields will indicate it is requirement to fill out. I have pre-populated, for the sake of this training video, the fields already, but we will go over all that you will need to address. The first field is the description, where we want to make sure that we write something brief, but something that's easy for the next viewer to understand, whoever's going to get this next. You can use the explanation field to notate any pertinent information to the contract manager. Example could be attached quote details or indicating if it's an after-the-fact PO. Next, we've got our Delivery tab, and you'll see that I already have my building information already defaulted. If you don't have a default, or you want to change your default address of where you want to deliver to, you can use the little search icons. These are throughout the document, and each time you see one, that is a searchable field. So you can go ahead and search out your new building, or if it's your first time, go ahead and bring that building in and set it as a default. Make sure you have the room number. If there is no room, it will just type no room with no space in between no room. The deliver to will automatically default to you as the initiator, but again, that can be changed to whoever you want to be reflected on the deliver to address. Next is the vendor tab. I went ahead and did my search and brought in my vendor that I'm looking for. And the vendor fields are populated once I brought that vendor in with all their onboarded profile information. The notes to vendor field is something that's handy to convey anything, any special instructions or anything you need to the vendor, or in this case we're referencing a contract number. There could be a customer number as well you might have on hand, and this is where you can go ahead and notate all that information. Next is the items tab. The item type will always default to quantity taxable, and for our example today we will keep it at quantity taxable. As for the quantity, I want to go ahead and order 3, and the unit of measure is each. If you're not sure what your unit of measure abbreviation you will need is, you can go ahead and use the search icon to look that up. Please enter the catalog number if applicable, and you would go ahead and enter the commodity code, which is something that is a little tricky for people most of the time to find. So this is another one of those cases where we encourage you to keep a cheat sheet of the most commonly used commodity codes. Again, when searching, do partial word searches and do asterisk, partial word asterisk. In your description field, you want to get as detailed as possible, and you can refer to your quote or whatever online information you've received as far as the description to help identify what this item is. You put the unit cost in here, and once the unit cost is entered and we add by pressing the plus button, you'll see that the extended line cost goes ahead and populates. The next thing we want to do is add our account information. So we'll click on this little show accounting lines icon, the little dollar symbol on it. And here's our accounting line. My account is already defaulted, but you can go ahead and search for that, or you can free type it as you need if you are changing between accounts. After we save this, you will have the option to save that account number as a default. There are optional fields such as subaccount, subobject, project, org ref ID that can be utilized to help identify things on the general ledger, but that is at your fiscal officer's discretion. So what we'll need here is an object code, and again, I have my little cheat sheet here, and it does recall, depending on what browser you're in, as you can maybe notice drop downs, remember object codes you've used in the past, but it's always best to keep a little cheat sheet, or you can do your search. Again, partial word search is best. At the end here of the line, you have it defaulted to 100%. Normally, if you're just using one account, that's all you have to enter. You don't have to enter a dollar amount. If you want to split fund it though, you can either split fund it in percentage or in dollar amount. The next step, we'll go ahead and add this line item. And now our accounting line is in the requisition, and the next step we'll go to is the additional institutional info tab. And this just pre-populates to the initiator's information again. This is for internal use only. It's just to use as a secondary contact in case there's any questions on this order. But again, it can be changed if you want to go ahead and mention someone else's name here in this field. Next is the Notes and Attachments tab. You would go ahead and do a brief description of what you're uploading as far as backup documentation, or if you want to just go ahead and add any additional notations for anyone who's viewing this document for future reference. You would just go ahead and choose the file and hit the Add button to go ahead and add your backup. Then the last and final step is we will calculate and submit. And you'll see that at the top your status has now changed to en route, and the requisition is in process because it is routed to the next person in line. There are a few optional approvers, but typically it will go to your fiscal officer for the last and final approval. Once that's done, this requisition status will turn to final. And that's all there is to adding a requisition.